All right, so here we are backstage, the Stiefel Theater. Mr. Nathaniel Rateliff, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. I've heard there's been some going back and forth about the pronunciation of the theater, because this used to be the Kiel Auditorium, right?
It was Kiel.
Right.
Then they changed it to the, oh gosh, what was it before this? It was the Peabody.
Peabody.
And now the Stiefel.
Okay, Stiefel.
Well, what are you hearing on your side of things?
I've heard people say Stifle, Stiefel, you know. I also, until, you know, we got here, thought it was still Peabody. So.
Right. Well, you know what? I've said it mistakenly on the air before, to the point where somebody sends an email saying, hey, Donny, just a reminder that it's the Stiefel and not the Peabody. Because, you know, I'm sure everybody.
It's a good thing we have people trolling your show, you know,
right,
to point out your mistakes.
Right. Thank you very much. So it's great to have you in town again. One of the things that I'd love to know is when you come to St. Louis, what is your guest list number compared to, say, any other random city in the country?
I was just joking about that with our tour manager, because my mom and Joseph's mom were here. So I think, you know, it's an average like 50 to 60 family members and friends, and you know, and then there's some people that I don't even know. They're like, I'm friends with. I was like, well, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know who the hell you are. But you know, it's always nice just to be around family and have the opportunity to, you know, be able to see everybody, and you know, and a lot of them don't get to, like, you know, come to like a legendary theater like this and be backstage. Or I think my mom's actually out in the auditorium, like, taking photos right now. So
that's awesome.
Which is cool, you know. So
yeah.
It's exciting for them, and you know, I always like to try to make everybody happy. So
absolutely, which has got to be a tough thing to do a lot of times, though, too.
Well, you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah. But I got to tell you this, it's just a little personal thing here, right quick, man. Yesterday, I had like one of those days. You know what I mean? Like, I was just grumpy Gus. I got home. There was 6 things going on at one time, and I wanted to prep a couple things for our chat today, and so I put on the new record. And man, I'm telling you what, and this is not just because we're talking. By the time I got to track number 6, I was doing these crazy slides in my kitchen on my socks.
Right on.
Like I was in like I was multitasking with homework, making dinner, and prepping this interview, and like legitimately my mood had changed. And I got to thinking, like, that is an amazing thing that you have the power to be able to do. You know what I mean? From wherever you were in Chicago, Illinois yesterday, you made Donny Mueller a really happy guy just by putting together some great songs. That has got to be just a really amazing, obviously it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, the second record, you know, the first one was a surprise that, you know, people liked it. You know, because for years you put out music and you just don't know what people are going to respond to, but you continue to do it out of, you know, love and passion for the art form itself. And you know, but then once you have something that's successful, you're like, well, hell, what are we going to do now? You know, I actually feel that way. As soon as we were finished making the second record, I was like, well, that's exciting. What are we going to do next? You
right.
know? And so, but you know, luckily I'm with a bunch of great guys that we help kind of push each other, and you know, I'm kind of, if we weren't on the road, we'd be in the studio. So, but I feel very fortunate and, you know, blessed that those songs came out of us, and, you know, and I get to be here with you.
Yeah, now are you a guy, so you're saying you're out on the road playing live with the guys, or you guys are in the studio, so do you like have a studio at your house? Are you kind of always making music, always kind of recording stuff, or?
You know, I haven't, for the past year and a half, I haven't really had
the time?
House.
Oh.
So I've just kind of been living out of the suitcase. But I'm trying to find a good spot, and, you know, hoping that I have like a little bit of a sanctuary there to make music. And you know, Pat has a pretty good place in the back of his house, and I've actually was living in his basement. So, you know, so we have, you know, different. I think Joseph has a little spot, and but yeah, I mean, most of what we've been doing since the spring is just nonstop on the road. So,
yeah, very good. I want to talk to you about Project Marigold.
Yeah,
I am. You know, I'm sure that you were one of those guys that when you had the ability, when you got the success and were able to kind of do some positive things with it, this type of thing is one of the first things you wanted to do. So can you talk a bit about it? I know it's made to help with social programs and things like that, but I want to hear from your mouth what it's all about.
Well, it originally started, one of my best friends and sort of mentor, who's still here in Rhineland, Missouri. He was injured in a construction accident, and his wife is a teacher. And then after that injury, you know, he had to try to reevaluate what he was going to do. And it kind of just made me think that, like, how many families are like that, you know, and especially, like, a lot of rural parts of the States, you know. Just that, like, you need both partners to work in order to support a family. Mm-hmm. And then when you have an accident and, you know, not everybody has the right insurance, or you know, if you're a contractor or subcontractor, then you may not get any money for anything. And that's kind of his case. And I was like, well, how many families are like that? And so I started to talk to my management and just see if there was something we could do to try to help people in those similar situations. And the idea originated from that, but as we started to kind of dig into Colorado and talk to some of, you know, at the time, some of Hickenlooper's staff, who's the governor of Colorado, or was, just try to see what ways we could help around Colorado. And when I first moved out there, we did a lot of work with homeless people, Joseph and I. And so we started to talk to, you know, Hickenlooper's staff and realized that there's a huge problem with homeless vets. There's about 300 of them living on this stream in the middle of Denver. And so instead of trying to come up with a solution, what I've learned from talking to people is you actually need to, like, get in there and be a part of what you see might be a problem with people in need, and actually talk to them and find out what they need from us. And so we try to do that kind of work. We also, you know, Marigold Project is an endowment, so we donate money to other organizations that have kind of already cut through some of that red tape, whether it be state or city.
Kind of already on the ground running.
Right, already on the ground running. Like yesterday in Chicago, we worked with Jamal Cole, who works with My Block, My City. What else is it? It's My Block, My City, My Neighborhood. And just trying to work with kids in Southside Chicago to change their worldview, because their perspective of things is the block that they live on, you know. And even as small as, like, just being a steward in your neighborhood, and, like, if you don't want rats, if you want, you know, your neighborhood to be clean, well, then you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to clean the alley.
Sure.
You know, and, like, make sure things are neat and tidy, so that when the city does come in with trash trucks, you know, at least clean. And but then also just, you know, he's like, these kids have never hailed a cab, they've never been downtown. From their perspective, they're like, we can be basketball players or football players or maybe musicians. And so just trying to change their worldview and know that there is more opportunity and try to create that opportunity. So, you know, we still do a lot of stuff with Farm Aid, luckily, and, you know, and there's still, actually in Columbia, Missouri, try to help out the Rural Crisis Center, Patchwork Farms. And they're constantly trying to work on legislation to protect family farmers still, you know, and that's crazy that I think it was 79 when the tractor brigade, everyone drove their tractors to the White House lawn, and, you know, farmers are still fighting, and, you know, suicide rates are up really high this last year, and so from farmers just losing everything, so... And so, you know, we just kind of, sorry, that's a mouthful.
No, there's a lot, but I mean, there's a lot to do there.
There's a lot to do, and, you know, you know, we can't rely on just the civil servants to do it. We have to become a community and set aside whatever differences we have. I feel like doing that, we come together and actually make change for good, and, you know, so we'll see.
I think it feels like the last couple of years, more so than a long time for me in my life, it feels as though we need to do something about it is more ever present now than before. Because it kind of seemed like a few years ago, it was like, oh, well, this agency will take care of it, or these guys will take care of it. Well, now it seems like there's kind of a revolution in, okay, well, if we see that problem, we need to be the one, boots on the ground, helping to try to fix that. Exactly. That issue, and whatever that it is. So, I mean, I think that's a great thing for all of us. And one thing real quick, to wrap it up, I did not know that I needed to hear you sing CCR until I heard you sing CCR.
Oh, really?
Oh, man. So you're doing that Americana Awards, I guess,
right.
through CMT, and they show this little clip of you just ripping through CCR. It was amazing to hear.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I walked in, there's, you know, a bunch of the guys in the band, or Buddy Miller, and just, you know, really massively famous people, musicians that I really respect, and they crank into that song, and, you know, I remember having, like, just a live tape cassette, you know, with, like, Keep On Chugling and all that in my car when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, I know the song, no problem, but boy, that range is, I thought my eyes were going to pop out of my head, so I was like, oh, I got a headache now, so, yeah. But, you know, it's fun just to collaborate with those people and, you know, continue to, you know, pay respect to the, you know, all the musicians that helped me encouraged me and influenced me to get to where I'm at. You know.
Well, it's Nathaniel. It's really always a great pleasure. I can't wait seeing you tonight. I'm telling you this, man. I need this show tonight. I need to dance and sweat a little bit. I'm gonna have a couple beers and get a little dumb.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Nathaniel Rateliff, backstage, Stiefel Theater, Point Hoho Show.